Now let's come down to image radiance. And this tool provides this sort of soft glow effect to the image. It adds more vibrant colors with an increased global contrast. You want to be careful with how much of this you use. If you use a lot of it, it can give your images kind of a dreamy look. So I'm going to click on go up here to the zoom drop down and choose fit to screen. Now let's take a look at each of these sliders. So amount, of course, is the effect strength. For a moderate effect and a more realistic look, you want to keep your values into no higher than +40. Smoothness determines the softness of the effect. Brightness controls how bright the effect is. The shadows portion of it controls how the effect modifies the darker areas of the image. So let's take a look at this. Let's reset this. And I know that I want to reduce the brightness a bit in this image. Remember, we said that if we want this to be realistic looking, which is what I'm after in this photograph, we need to keep this below 40. And let's back that brightness off. Let's see what happens when we push the shadows all the way to the right. It's going to go through all of our shadow area and brighten it. How about there? Let's turn it off. And you can see that it is reducing the brightness. Because we want this image to be more realistic, we're going to leave it there. Let's take a look at the adjustable gradient. Now this is a very cool tool. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the set orientation button and click on it. And that'll show you where this adjustable gradient resides. Because of the way this image is, I'm going to slide this up so that it has more impact on the sky and less on the area below the sky. And let's reduce the highlights in that sky so it'll be a little punchier. Let's make it a bit more vibrant. And maybe bring a little more of the highlights back in. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now let's go to the bottom and let's reduce that exposure down. See how much do we really want that impacted. Do we want our shadows brought up? And do we want more vibrance? No, that's way too much for my taste. Let's actually back it off just a touch. Warmth is good. Dial in a little more highlights so it's just a touch brighter. And there we go. So that's our adjustable gradient. So now let's go on to the vignette. Why do we use a vignette? We use a vignette to focus the eye on a particular part of a photograph. Let's take a look at the controls in the vignette. We can apply a vignette to post-crop, meaning after we've cropped it, or we could do it pre. In this case, we want to apply it to this image, just the way it is with this crop on it. So the amount slider, if we slide that to the right, you'll see it turn the vignette white. The vignette is out on the outer edges. If we slide it all the way to the left, it'll turn it black. Now I'm going to leave it black so you can see it more readily. And let's play with size. If we slide it to the left, you can see that the vignette circle gets smaller. As we slide it to the right, it goes out further towards the edges. If I bring it back into the center here, now if I change roundness, we can make it more rectangular, less round, or more round, depending on how, or more oval. Okay, we could do that, and then we could come back up to size and play with it there. And we can also, let's bring it back down into the center so it's easier to see. We can feather it, and the feathering determines how soft the edge is. If I push it all the way to the left, you can see that's a pretty hard edge. If I bring it in a bit and continue to soften it about there, we've got that. Now we also can increase inner brightness. If we have a vignette where we really want a darker edge and that has reduced the brightness in the center of the image, we can control that by coming here and increasing that brightness. Now let's go back to the history panel and let's go back to before we made any changes, and let's take a look at this. Do we want this a little darker on the edges? I think we do. I like the shape of it. Do we want the inner brightness increase? Let's take a look. I don't think so. I mean, if I were going to do anything, maybe just there. And so this is what it looks like with the vignette turned off. And this is with it on. You can see that it just subtly darkens the outer edges of the photograph. Now I want to show you before and after. The two ways we can do that is I come up to the little eye icon here and do a quick preview. That's the before, that's the after, or I can do a split screen and you can see what that looks like. So based on the results that we got from this preset, you can see that the presets available in Aurora HDR 2019 are very powerful and very useful. For many of us, these are going to be starting places that we'll then take and tweak and fine-tune to our own taste. And for others, with just minor changes or very little changes, they'll produce beautiful images for you. So Aurora HDR 2019 did a great job in producing a beautiful photograph from that original RAW file. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful.